How's it going, guys? This is RaiderKnight, and I'm going to be doing a video overall on how, it's basically an Age of Civilization AI video where we're going to see what would happen if the top 5 biggest, most powerful countries, in this modern time, or predicted to be powerful soon, didn't exist on the map in an AI battle. Who would rise up and who would claim the title of these superpowers that are gone? So the countries I removed were America, Brazil, India, China, and Russia. Arguably the biggest and more powerful countries, or countries that are about to be in that top 5 position pretty soon. Overall, I think this is pretty accurate. Brazil, USA, India, China, and Russia are predicted to be the big superpowers of the future. So without them, who is going to take over on this map? My guesses are Kazakhstan will be a pretty big powerhouse. But then again, you have Mongolia and nations like even Nepal could do good. Finland, there's a lot of things that could go good and bad in this scenario. I think a lot of different countries are going to rise. There's going to be some ugly borders in that area. But in South America and North America, we could see a lot of a different picture. We could see a strong Canada or a strong Mexico in the New World. Or we could see a strong... Well, South America could go either way. South America has a lot of countries. I don't know where South America is going to go. My guess is Argentina will rise up, but again, it could be Peru, it could be Colombia. So, we really don't know, but let's see what happens. I'm pretty interested, so let's start the video. So, currently, Canada is the world's strongest country in terms of land. So, Canada is winning, and Kazakhstan is a close second. So, it's kind of weird to look at our top 5. It's Canada, Kazakhstan, Argentina, Norway, and Australia. It's going to be a weird game. It's going to be a weird one. So, let's go all the way to turn 10 real quick, just to see what our world looks like. So, we're at turn 10. So at turn 10, Canada is still the strongest, I believe. Canada has a lot of strength. It looks like Mexico never really did anything. Surprisingly, Jamaica, aka Cuba in this scenario, has really done quite a bit. They've actually been they're a lot stronger than I predicted. Guatemala hanging on, surprisingly. Colombia and Argentina fighting for supremacy in South America, as well as a little bit from Paraguay, but I don't think Paraguay is going to survive that much longer. Even Mali came from Africa, which is a little bit strange, but it happened. In Africa, we're seeing a lot of different countries rising up. I think the big 2 or 3 are probably, I guess there's 4 of them. Sudan, Libya, Algeria, actually there's a lot. It's pretty divided in Africa. You really can't decide anything this early. In Europe, it's looking like Denmark is doing very good, but then again, Sweden is also doing very good. And, Denmark's got some problems they got to deal with. So Sweden, even Norway is looking pretty good. Ukraine looking pretty good. Even Mongolia looking good. Mongolia is stronger than Kazakhstan now. And Vietnam has definitely done pretty good as well. Japan is looking like a powerful nation, but overall we're in a divided place. Let's see who the top 5 are. Canada, Mongolia, Argentina, Japan, and Colombia are the top 5. Technically there's more in the top 5 because they're all tied up. Sweden, Norway, and Indonesia. It's pretty close, so we're going to go to turn 15 and see how our game is looking. So Canada, Mongolia, Colombia, Japan, and Algeria, South Africa, and Sweden are all in the top 5 technically because there's a lot of ties currently in the game. So Canada, Mongolia, Colombia, and Japan are the big ones to watch. So Mongolia is doing alright, but they have a lot of problems they got to deal with. Japan is doing extremely well, but they won't expand quickly enough, I believe, by doing that. If I was Japan, I would attack Mongolia before it's too late. Mongolia would be the perfect nation to attack right now. Canada, again, they're doing alright, but they're not expanding quickly. South America is turning into a mess. I think this war will go on for a pretty long time. Same with the African war, but again, it looks like South Africa might be able to. South Africa or Algeria will probably unify Africa. In Europe, it was a complete kind of guess of what we predicted. Denmark had a lot of problems, and they kind of failed to act upon their problems and fix the problem. Norway really didn't do much, and let's see what happens next. So, let's zoom up to turn 25. I think 25 is a good turn to zoom up to. So, turn 25. Let's see what happens. Canada, Colombia, Japan are the top three. Colombia and Japan being tied, but that's alright. So, it's still the same. But now we have Colombia into the group instead of Mongolia. So what happened to Mongolia? Japan did what was an intelligent move, and they attacked Mongolia. And Japan is going to be the world power, I believe, unless Canada really starts to make up for ground. I honestly think we're in a point where it's Canada and Japan at real war scenario. Canada was pretty easily predicted to get powerful, though. Colombia is probably going to take South America, and South Africa, Algeria, it's still a toss-up. So let's zoom up all the way to turn 40, I think. That'll be a good turn to just zoom up to. It does take longer once you get into these stronger nations, because they don't really like to kill each other that quickly, it seems. So let's zoom up really far and just see who are going to be the main world powers in turn 40. I didn't look at the leaderboard, so I'm going to go to turn 41, I'm sorry. South Africa is number 1, Japan is second. Canada is technically also second, but third. So, South Africa, where the hell did they get powerful? Did they win Africa? South Africa is not winning Africa, but they are winning in the Middle East, which is kind of unpredictable. I didn't expect that to happen. But South Africa is now world power. Japan and Canada still fighting out for second place. South Africa is a pretty random one. I didn't expect them to randomly get powerful. But then again, Ecuador, it's not even Colombia, it's fucking Ecuador, is going to be the world power in South America. This is so weird. Or no, it is Colombia. I was just clicking on Ecuador. Okay. So it is Colombia. My mistake. I was going to say, how the fuck did Ecuador get all that power? But I guess it really doesn't matter because it's Colombia. So, looking at the world right now, and Georgia, of all fucking places, is the powerhouse in Europe. I know, it's fucking random. But they were getting a lot of power in Turkey, etc. when we saw them last. Australia fucked up the southern Asian countries pretty bad. But I don't think they're going to last very long unless they're lucky. So let's look now at what will happen by turn 50. Will South America still be number 1? I think they will. But, Japan has taken over. At turn 51, Japan has taken over. South America is in second place. Colombia is in third place. And Canada is falling very quickly because of the war with Colombia. So Canada or Colombia, either way, it's going to end with one of these people winning in the New World. Canada should have been a little bit more aggressive after going to the New World. Japan is looking like a very powerful world empire, but they have a lot of problems with the South. I don't know if they'll survive. South Africa is doing very good, and at this rate, South Africa will invade Europe, and they will eat Europe alive, basically. So let's see what happens by turn 75. Let's say that. Actually, let's go to turn 65, I think. A little bit of lag, that means there's usually sea battles going on. So we are getting to that point of the game where it's going to go a little bit slower. Let's continue to flip through the turns real quickly. We're at turn 64, and this is 65. So, Japan is still number 1, South Africa number 2, and Colombia is number 3. Nothing has changed in terms of those rankings, but Africa is catching up slowly, and Canada continues to drop quickly. So at this rate, I don't think Canada is going to survive. It's very easily predictable that Colombia is going to win. So Colombia has won in the New World, basically. Meanwhile, in the Old World, Japan has held pretty well together, but now they're at war with South Africa, which is going to be an ugly war. Not to mention that they're at war with all of Europe and basically the whole world. I don't see Japan surviving this. I honestly think South Africa is going to be the leader of this map unless Japan is just really lucky or Colombia intervenes somehow in the future to stop South Africa. So let's zoom up all the way to turn 75 and let's see if Japan is still going strong or they're not going to survive. Turn 73, turn 74, and turn 75, if it loads. Here we go. So South Africa has become the new world power, Colombia second, and Japan third, like we predicted. So, sadly, I kind of guessed it would happen like this. But now South Africa is in Japan's shoes. They're at war with the world. But then again, you know, it's kind of everybody's at war with the world at this point. Japan is not looking very good. It looks like South Africa will do pretty good. But UK might expand a little bit here. They might have a chance to redeem themselves if they're lucky. Surprisingly, Australia didn't play a bigger role than I thought they would. But it looks like Japan will not survive. Colombia is pretty close, though, to catching up. I think if Colombia starts to go after the New World, Colombia could still beat Africa. So let's zoom all the way up to turn 85. As we zoom to turn 85, this is when we start to really see who's going to win the game. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of lag because now sea battles are going to start occurring. Unless Colombia just attacks me forever non-stop. Which is a possibility. Okay, I guess I just went to turn... Let's go to turn 87. Let's just go to turn 90. Okay, let's go to turn 90, so it's a little bit more balanced. So, South Africa did lose a little bit. Colombia gained some. Japan actually somewhat balanced still to what they were. A little bit lost, I believe. And as we guessed, the UK has gained land. So let's look at what is going on. So as we predicted, South Africa lost a lot of this ground kind of in this little mid-region here. Japan actually not really doing that well. They've kind of split themselves to a point where they're not going to do very good. Japan will die probably in the next 20 turns, is my guess, to Australia invading their island, or just maybe even South Africa. The UK, their luck, they've been doing pretty good lately, but I don't think their luck is going to last for that much longer. After South Africa unifies stronger, I think South Africa will win this game in the Old World. In the New World, we have Colombia, who is not doing much, but overall, at this point, I think it's a strong enough bet that you can call the game. South Africa will win, and it'll be a war between the New World and the Old World, between South Africa and Colombia. You can call it early just based off of how the map is going and how the game is somewhat turning out to be. Overall, good match. I think South Africa definitely was a little bit shocking for me to rise up. Despite South Africa not even being close to any of the nations that were like gone off the map, because at the start, if you remember, we got rid of the top 5 strongest countries. So seeing a nation that was not even close to all this free land rise up was a little bit strange. So South Africa, good job. South Africa wins surprisingly because they have the most land, and they're probably going to win the Old World, which is the most of the power in the game. Good match. We'll see you all next time, and peace.